Hey, what's up YouTube and Triple T members? Jeremy Barber here, owner of Trading the Trend chat room on Discord. There is a link in the video description. It is free to come check us out. So we had two plays that we're holding over the weekend. One is IGC, supports at $2. I'll be looking to cut it loose if we drop, probably 188, 190, somewhere in that area. We'll be looking to cut it loose. Then the other one is NBY. Went in a little bit smaller on this position, support around 109. Then we'll have support also at the whole dollar of 1. So I'll probably be looking about 97 cents. Again, it's a smaller position, so I can have my stop loss a little bit wider on it and still not take a huge loss, that'll really hurt my account. So I put out a watch list last weekend. I did decent. We had many 10% plus moves. No real huge moves on it, but there weren't really a lot of those huge moves available last week. Market was kind of choppy again. So here's the results from last week's watch list. So you can see that there were some pretty decent trades, some nice profit opportunities on those plays. And here is the making of this week's watch list. Welcome to the making of this week's watch list. So you can see I have my main end of day scan that I run right here. I'm gonna increase this relative volume up to 3 like we have in the past. Only gives us 4 pages of results. Go up to over 2, gives us 8 pages, so that'll work. See if I see anything we like. Here's one. You can see we broke over this purple resistance line right here, closed up above it. Take a closer look and see what we got. So you can see this did basically nothing for a long time, and then December started getting some action, and looks like we've got a descending wedge that formed, closed up above this top resistance line on a doji. Not a real convincing or bullish candlestick, but it did close up over. Looks like support's going to be maybe 14.10 area, and then we'd have the whole dollar support at $14. You can see huge volume there. All of our indicators look good. They're all pointing up, traveling up. Nothing overbought. Float 40 million. Not much short, which doesn't really affect it either way. Average volume almost 100 or almost 1 million shares a day. So everything looks good. This will definitely be one that I'll put on the list. This one, I really don't like the way it trades. It trades very choppy, at least on the intraday, especially breakouts. I've tried to trade it a few times, taken some losses on it. Does look like it cleared some major resistance over the past, well, on Friday it cleared them. I really don't like the way it trades. But everything else looks good on it. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the list. It's not something that I would personally trade because I've had a bad experience with it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't, or it's not going to offer some profit next week. Okay, this chart looks intriguing.
Doesn't look like it ever has any really big candlesticks. This one from 4 to about 450, so that's a pretty healthy move right there. I would assume that's about the same size candlestick. You can see this line is right about 350 on this top resistance line right here. So I would want to see it get over that 350. Indicators look good. Huge float on it. Again, not something that I would typically trade with a float that large. But if we can break over this downsloping resistance right here, this could definitely be a trade. You can see we closed above this right here. RSI we're overbought. Our stochastics overbought and looks like it's about to cross to the downside. There's not really much horizontal resistance. It would have been from right there. I guess the top of this wick is about right there, about 9. Again, I don't like this candlestick with a long top wick, though we did have one on Thursday and then it gapped up and moved up on Friday. You can see that this chart is full of these with long top wicks. And what that means is that it's running up and then before close it's selling back off. So this is one that you'd want to either jump on first thing in the morning, or you'd want to wait till it pulled back at close, because it's running up intraday and then pulling back to close. So you don't want to buy around lunchtime because it's downtrending. You're going to end up being in the hole if you're planning to hold overnight. Tiny float on it. And yeah, with the way this has moved, it would definitely be a day trade only. Just nothing real convincing. Average volume 185K. Yeah, that's too low. Again, we're looking for something that has broke resistance or something bouncing off of support. So here, this one had a gap up, but we're right in the middle of our support and resistance. It's a 50-50 gamble either way, and that's just not something I would be interested in. Okay, so we had a little descending triangle right here, broke out of it right there, made a strong move. It's going to be running into resistance right here at 13. You can see the top of this wick and the top of the wick from Friday about at the same levels, 1240 area. Nothing real convincing there. Our indicators do look good. Our stochastics is showing overbought a little bit. Still not a huge concern. Right, perfect float. Not too much short. Average volume 2 million is good. Again, it could give some profit. I don't think it presents a good risk to reward. This is a shipper right here. Shippers, if you don't know their history, you can look them up. They're pretty much, I treat them as a day trade only stocks because they typically don't hold their gains from the previous day. It creates a ton of bag holders, and having a ton of bag holders is never good because people are just, as soon as they get back to their buy price, they're going to dump it just to be rid of it. So I saw this one on Friday, but again, I typically don't trade the gap ups. This one can hold above this $4 line. It's actually not too bad of a chart. You can see moved up and went into this consolidation, say between 4 and 3, and then over the last about 2 months, we've gone into more of the $3.50 to $4 range. We did break above this 4. Indicators all pointing up. MACD crossed up above the 0 line. About 50 million float. Average volume 600,000. I typically like to see something a little higher than that normally, but had good volume on Friday. So, and you can see this volume bar compared to the rest of them, just a huge volume bar. But again, I mean, we had the same huge volume bar right here, and then it sold off after that. So that doesn't necessarily, guarantee anything, but it's definitely nice to see it getting some volume. I think I'm going to go ahead and put this one on the list again. It's no harm putting it on the list. Not going to lose money by having it on a watch list. So might as well put it there and see if anything materializes. Okay, so this is one of the NFT tickers that was popping up at the end of last week. I'm going to be putting this one on the list. It did have a solid move on Friday, so yeah, from $2.84 up to $4. Shares float 45 million, so it's not a tiny float like most of the NFT plays. RSI is up around 80, so that's getting a little concerning, something to keep an eye on. It probably doesn't have, if it's up Monday, I wouldn't see it going up too many more days after that. Your RSI is probably going to be up around 85 if it has a green day Monday. So that's definitely pretty dangerous. Average volume 5.78 million, so there's no risk of not being able to get out there. Everything looks good. Stochastics, we did get a turn down and crossover coming out of overbought. But again, if I have 2 out of the 3 indicators giving bullish signs, then I'm good with that, on top of being able to read the candlesticks themselves. There, again, if it holds above this $4, but it's worth being on the list. This one, look at, there are 2 small red days in there, but this has gone up from about $11 to $21. So at this point, that's a very risky trade. Got this line about 750 right there. Closed up above it. Again, it's been on quite a run. RSI still not overbought. Stochastics did turn down. Again, we got 2 out of 3 of the indicators giving us a bullish sign. So this is one I'd want it to stay up above 750. 26 million float. Average volume 500,000. Yeah, that's again just a little low for my liking. That's right at the bottom, I'd start considering, but that chart didn't look good enough to override the low average volume. This one again, support down here, resistance up here, even if not using the purple line from this candlestick, kind of right in no man's land. Not really worth the risk. Here, you're way off support, resistance, way up here, you're again right in the middle, no man's land. MOGO, this is a Bitcoin ticker running right up into resistance. If this thing breaks over 12, definitely could see a good move. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the list. I know it should be good. Go ahead and look at the details of it. RSI good, MACD good, stochastics. Under 25 million float, average volume over 3 million. Yeah, everything looks good. Again, watching that $12 mark. High on this candlestick, 1186. So you clear that, then you're running right into the 12. So I'd want to see it over both of those. So this is one of the end of day plays from Friday. You can see we broke over this resistance right here at 109 right there. So this is definitely one go on the list. And for the people in the chat room, you're probably already in if you're following along with the trades. Our RSI is up above the 50 line. It's trending up. MACD looks like we're getting across right there. Looks like it's right about to break over the 0 line. Our stochastics look good, trending up. 31 million float. Average volume over 5 million. Everything looks good on this one. And some of these tickers that I'm skipping over, they're actually going to be on the next scan I'm going to run. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Almost through this list. Here's one. So remember, we're looking for a buy on a break of resistance or a bounce off of support. So this one looks like it could be finding some support in the $11 range. You can see this one had a ton of red days in a row from all the way up around 22 all the way down to $11. The low on this day was 1045 actually. So it could be finding support in this $11 range, even sitting at $12 if you're risking $1 per share to even if you get up to where this gap starts at $3 or 15, so that'd be $3 a share profit from here at 12. I mean, that's, you'll risk $1 to make 3 all day. Our RSI, you can see we were oversold. We are now bouncing, coming out of oversold conditions. Our MACD looks like we just crossed on Friday. Typically, I wouldn't trade anything that doesn't have, enough history. This only goes back about 4 or 5 months. So, I'm going to put it on the list just for the sake of, it may help somebody else make money, but it's not something that I would personally trade. 32 million float, average volume over 2.5 million. Everything looks good on it. Again, I like to have a little bit more chart for me to trade, but definitely something that's interesting. Okay, so we got a pretty nice break of this down sloping line right here. Huge volume on it. RSI still in good shape. Our MACD line crossed our signal line, both traveling up towards the 0 line. Stochastic showing overbought. You can see this is about the level that it starts turning back down. So that is one cause for concern. You can see all the green candles that it had in a row right here. They could be due for a little pullback. In that case, I'd look for it to hold above this purple line, and the next line it needs to beat is this 30 right here. Over that 30, I would be more interested in it, but I think there are some better charts out there than this one. Yeah, average volume only 471,000 also, so. SLGG, this is another one like AESE. They are both esports tickers. Again, just super choppy intraday movements. Bunch of false breakouts, just very difficult to get a read on. Okay, here's a chart. We can see we have this blue support line that it's held even after it ran up to over 14, pulled back and still held this line. Looking, I would want to see a break over, let's see, what's the open? 945. What's the high? So 955. Yeah, right in that 950 range where it's sitting right now. Any move above that, I definitely like this ticker. RSI is good. Our MACD is trending up. Again, stochastic showing a little overbought. 2 out of 3, I'll take that. Float, 36 million, good. Average volume, 1.65. Yeah, this looks good. Again, needs to clear and close over that 950 mark, but I like the chart. Yeah, chart looks decent. Broke up above this resistance line. I just don't see a large move coming out of this ticker. 109 million float, a little larger. I don't know. The chart just doesn't look good to me. Doesn't look like it really can make a solid move. And we're right at this resistance. You can see here we closed just above it, consolidated a little bit, broke back down. Again, I think there are just better charts out there. So if we didn't have this long candlestick right here that broke over and we just had this one, I would really like this chart. But we broke over that purple line, closed above, and then we pulled back. Got a nice hammer candlestick right here. Indicators look good. 10 million float, little small. Average volume 354,000. That's way too small. Okay, so that is all of the breakout potential plays. So I'm going to clear this. So about the middle of the week last week, started noticing that all these super small float tickers were starting to move. We traded IPDN, WKEY, and a few others. They're very risky plays because they can move very quickly up or down. So you can go in with smaller position sizes and you can still make or lose the same amount that you would if with bigger position sizes on other tickers. So the day that we held them overnight, we actually got a good profit out of them. So, and these would be day trades, you know, unless the daily chart just sets up perfectly for a swing. But these would be day trades. I'm looking for low float tickers. I'm going to look for anything under 10 million on the float. And with these, and the float being so small, I keep talking about, you got to make sure they have good volume because you do not want to get stuck in any of these tickers. So I want their average volume to be over 750,000. Let's see how many pages. Okay, so that gives us 168 pages of results. We're going to go price under 30. Oh, because this float should be under 10 million. Okay, 12 pages of results there. Relative volume. No. 12 pages, I can deal with 12 pages. This one kind of looks intriguing, but too many green days in a row, kind of in that in-between zone. Not enough chart, right in the middle of no man's land. Yeah. Nothing doesn't just blow me away. We should find some better charts out there. Okay. So we have this blue support line, about 825 area. So we're giving up about 50 cents per share to get down to support. But if this thing can close up over the 930 area, that should present a pretty good trade opportunity. Again, these are very dangerous plays because of the tiny float. Average volume, see this one, average volume is almost 1.5 million. It only did 120,000 shares on Friday. It's very hard to sell whenever you've only got 120,000 shares being traded. And that's what makes these so risky. Yeah, see again, average volume over 1 million, but only 354,000. Not really seeing much on the indicators, not trending up. Don't really like it. So in addition to any tickers that we find today through these scans, I'm also going to have, I mentioned it earlier, some NFT, non-fungible token tickers on my list. There's about 5 or 6 of them that we'll see if they pop up on the scan, but there's 5 or 6 of them that were getting some pretty crazy volume on Thursday and Friday. So anytime anything's getting volume and the volatility's there, there's opportunity to make money. Okay, I like this one with the close over 7. Not seeing much with the indicators. 3.5 million float. We know we're looking for something. Still did over 1 million in volume on Friday. Stochastics about to cross. Looks like our MACD maybe is about to cross, or maybe it just did on Friday. It's hard to really tell. But again, I'd want this to close over 7 before I took a trade on it. I'll go ahead and put it on the list. This is one of the NFT tickers from Friday. You can see big green candlestick, consolidate for 2 days. Big green candlestick, consolidate for 2 days. This is one I'd be watching over 675. and put it on the list. Kind of consolidating there. Volume was terribly low on Friday, pretty much across the market. I mean, look at this relative volume, 0.16. So normally does 2.81 million on average. Only did 500,000 shares. That's just pitiful. Very choppy movement on this ticker. Real small candlesticks. Again, kind of we're closer to this resistance than we are support. We'd be risking more than we'd make. Not a good way to trade. Okay, here's one where we're sitting right on support. We got not only this blue trend line, but we also have the psychological whole dollar support of $10. I'd be willing to bet this probably ends up breaking down, but if we can get a solid move up off of this $10, this definitely could be something we can make money on. Again, I don't like how choppy this is. You see these long candlesticks, long wicks, but the good thing is a lot of these long wicks are at the bottom. That means if this thing sells off first thing in the morning, you can look to get in, and if it just recovers throughout the day, you can make a pretty nice profit. So this one closed at 1013, sold down to 970 area, 970 back up to 10. That's a pretty nice profit. Again, 2 million average volume. Just Friday was a killer with no volume. So this one again stays above 10, can present a nice trade opportunity. Bounced off the 150 support on Friday. Yeah, I'm just not seeing much there. Okay, so here's one that we traded last Wednesday into Thursday. We were looking for a close over 4 right here. It closed over the 4, ran up to a high of 461 from a close right at 4, yeah, 405 area, yeah, 406. So pretty nice profit there. It seemed to be holding this $4 mark. This is another NFT ticker right here, crossing above the 0 line. Stochastic showing a little bit overbought, just a little under 10 million float. Volume, so this is one that was not affected with Friday's low volume. Normally does a little over 3.5 million, and it did 6.7 million. So this is one that actually did see some volume Friday, and that's a pretty bullish sign. Okay. Here's one. We've got our MACD going up, RSI going back up. Again, low float. average volume 1.4 million, did just a little under average volume. It wasn't hit as hard as many other tickers, so this is one I would want to see it break over 6, and then probably even over this close, which would be 614 right there. Just, it's sitting in a bad spot. If it gets over 614, then potentially a trade, but I think we'll be able to find some better charts. Remember, these are all very risky plays and can go bad very quickly. I would suggest going into these a little bit smaller than you normally would, to be able to take into account, a 10% drop in just a couple minutes. Also, if you're going to buy them earlier in the day, I'd make sure to have a day trade available. Here's one. I like to see it get over that 3. Again, average volume almost 4.5 million, and it traded less than 300 or less than 400,000 shares on Friday. That's just insane. You can see the volume, can't even see volume bars down here. So again, mentioned shippers. This is a shipping stock. Potentially break over that 150. Could be looking at a decent trade. And go ahead and put this one on the list. Again, I treat shippers as day trades only. Indicators look good. Did about half of its average volume on Friday. Again, very volatile. Can move very quickly. Be looking for this one to get over about 1450 and look to use that as support, and a little bit below maybe 1425 for a stop loss. Again, it would have to get over that 1450 first, but there's potential there for a large move. Okay, so this one again is an NFT ticker. I'm gonna put this on there. I don't know if anything will happen with them next week, but I will have them on the watch list because they did make some crazy moves. I mean, this one, we called this one on this day right here, and then the next day went from basically $8 up to 1580, so almost 100% move in one night. So anytime anything moves crazy like that, there's potential, even if it's just scalping it a few times, some quick day trades, there's some potential for some money there. I would like to have seen it hold this $11 mark right around there, created from this candlestick, dropped a little bit below it. Again, may not turn out to be anything, but whenever you are getting volume and that volatility, there's a potential to make money. Okay, so that is everything we're going to look at today. We got about 15, 16 tickers. I may add a couple more of the NFT tickers. Hopefully this week's list can provide some profit, provide some trades, and if not, at least you're seeing the process I'm going through when I'm creating these watch lists.
Okay, so there is the watch list for the week. It will also be in text format at the end of this video. Again, these may be day trades, they may turn into swing trades, or they may turn into nothing at all. I keep a separate watch list with all these tickers on it and see if any are getting volume, getting any action, and set up for a potential trade. Again, there is a link in the video description to come check out our chat room. It is risk free, it is free to join. We'll have our 2 plays that I mentioned earlier, along with the watch list for the week. Thanks for joining, good luck, and stay green.